Welcome to Chapter 13 on Individual Hearings, or IH. This video will explore the most critical stage of removal proceedings in immigration court. Our learning objectives for this chapter cover the purpose and structure of an IH, the roles of courtroom participants, presenting evidence, and how judges make findings of fact and credibility. Finally, we aim to conduct a full individual hearing simulation. Key terms include individual hearing, merits hearing, direct and cross-examination, objections, closing arguments, findings of fact, and oral decision. Understanding these terms is vital for following the process. The individual hearing is the trial of immigration court, determining if relief is granted or if a removal order is issued. The immigration judge hears testimony, evaluates credibility, applies the law, and issues a final decision. The IH structure begins with preliminary matters and opening statements. Next is testimony from the respondent and witnesses. Then, examination and questions are followed by closing arguments. The hearing concludes with the judge's decision. Respondent testimony should be truthful, detailed, and explain any inconsistencies. It must clearly describe harm and, if seeking asylum, connect that harm to protected grounds. Witness testimony supports credibility and corroborates the claim. Evidence must meet specific requirements, filed by the deadline, translated into English, organized, labeled, and relevant to the claim. The judge decides what evidence is admitted and how much weight it receives. Even with relaxed evidence rules, objections are common and are ruled on immediately by the immigration judge. Common objections include relevance, hearsay, lack of foundation, and speculation. Closing arguments summarize the case, emphasizing testimony, evidence, legal standards, and burdens of proof. This step helps the immigration judge focus on key issues and clarify the requested relief. The judge delivers an oral decision in court or a written decision later, especially for complex cases. The decision includes findings of fact, credibility analysis, legal conclusions, and a final order on relief or removal. Here are our MTH discussion questions, which you can use to review the content of this video. Reflect on why the individual hearing is considered the trial of immigration court. Our MTH assessment questions will test your understanding of the IH process. Consider the purpose of the hearing, the role of the judge, and the definition of an oral decision. This simulation focuses on Helena Duarte, a 31-year-old survivor of systemic domestic abuse by a Brazilian police officer. She seeks asylum, withholding of removal and CAT protection based on a reasonable fear of persecution and torture. The defense case theory centers on domestic violence as state-sanctioned persecution. Key pillars include state acquiescence due to police ties, the severity of the abuse, and the abuser's ability to track the respondent nationally. The government's theory challenges the nexus to a protected group, citing the abuse as private criminal activity. They also argue for the availability of state protection and the possibility of safe internal relocation, while critiquing the definition of the particular social group. This chapter covers corroborating the fear of return. Critical exhibits include medical records proving severe assault, ignored police reports verifying state unwillingness to act, and country conditions highlighting high rates of femicide and police corruption in Brazil. Next, we address jurisdictional integrity and the defective notice to appear, or NTA. The key legal issue is whether the NTA, which failed to specify time and place, is fundamentally flawed, and if jurisdiction ever vested with the court. The defense seeks a motion to terminate, arguing the NTA defect is prejudicial. The government argues the defect was cured by subsequent notices, and the hearing should proceed on merits.